In Colossians 2:8, we read earlier that how the Lord said that we should not allow ourselves to be taken captive by the vain philosophies and human traditions. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. And sad to say, that's exactly what happens today. Many Christians.
Uncle, one thing, just would you say how to now counter it?
Yeah, we're coming to that, yes. Another thing that has been pointed out by this author of that book is that the non-Christians are more consistent with their worldview than many Christians. We will never see a Marxist as a creationist, but we can see many creationists as a Marxist. How can that be possible? You cannot be a Christian and a communist. Absolutely impossible. Because communism does not believe in God. Communism does not believe in creation. So how can you be a Christian and communism believes, the ends justifies the means. Communism believes in dialectical materialism. We don't believe in dialectical materialism, if you know what that is. Thesis, antithesis and synthesis. The world progress like that. There is a thesis. Against that antithesis, for example, there is a capitalist, then there will be a lot of workers. The workers unite, they fight against the capitalist, and then comes the synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis there will be a new union formed. Then that new union will be your thesis. Then it will work against, and another interest, maybe the Badalalis may have a Sangadana or something, or the government may bring in rules and regulations, so it will be the antithesis, then it will bring in a new system. So they believe that thesis, antithesis, synthesis, this keep on going and moving, and that's how the world has come to this point. Everything. That's what dialectical materialism is. So the dialectical materialism is used in everywhere, in theology and religion and everywhere. What we have today in the society is this dialectical materialism. There is no God, nothing. If there is a God, God ഉരുത്തിരിഞ്ഞു വന്ന് പറയും. ദൈവം ഇങ്ങനെ സംഘടനകളിൽ കൂടെ ഉരുത്തിരിഞ്ഞു വന്ന ഒരു ആശയമാണ്. ഇനി ആ ആശയം ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു തീസിസ് ആകും, എന്നിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഇങ്ങനെ പോവുകയാണ്. So this is the idea, So Christians believe these things, That's a sad part. There could be, like Paulus, Paulus, and there are, I hate to say names on this program, but there were even some bishops and their main other, in the main line, some of the denominations who were Marxist. How could they be Marxist? I could never understand. They wanted to, you can never be a Marxist only for economic ideas. No, you just cannot be. Because Marxism does not come in part and parcel, it comes as a whole unit, all these things. So we will never come across any New Age movement who believe in ethical absolutes. Never. You will never come across somebody who is a Nam who say that I believe murder is wrong or adultery is wrong. No, they will not say. Whether murder is wrong or adultery is wrong has to be decided by many factors. They say that you have to kill, you have to commit adultery as the case requires. There's no absolutes. There's no absolutes. So how inconsistent are the Christians when, they subscribe to some of these theories? Why this conflict? Simply because Christian church failed to teach the Christian worldview in churches. This is the reason. They have one economics, they have another system of biology, another system of politics, another system of sociology. Our churches, we need to teach in the Children Sunday school class on, we have to teach consistently a Christian worldview. The adult Sunday school class must have, every Christian, every church member must have a class on the Christian worldview. Sometimes during the church membership. So that our people all will have the right thinking. But which church is teaching it? Which church? We only teach about love and we teach about this and that. They are all necessary. I am not saying they are not necessary. But why all this situation has come? Because we failed. We failed. That's a very fact. We failed. Simply because church failed. They failed to take apart non-Christian worldview also to show our children and our believers how inconsistent and unbiblical they are. We failed on both. We have lost all the power centers of thinking to the NAM. That's a shame. The power centers of thinking are gone after the New Age movement, Colleges and universities and medias are all lost to them. We have the church and the family, at least two Christian institutions, still there, and evangelical churches need to safeguard them. We need to teach our children firmly grounded in the Word of God and firmly grounded in Christian worldview before the young minds are thrown to the ugly vultures in the secular world. We should not allow our young people to go to colleges until they are firmly grounded with a Christian worldview. Parents will send their children to coaching classes, this class, and because they can get admission for medicine or engineering and all. But they do not realize that they are throwing their children to these vultures who are going to brainwash them and make them, advocates and proponents of these pagan, theories. We should not do that. We should not do that. So the question, what are we to do? Number one, we have to go on the offensive. As the author said, light a candle. Light a candle. Because we are the light of the world. Pray, When we say pray, we are not simply saying that we have to pray, fast and pray even for our young people. That they will not be. We have to be very choosy when we send our children to schools, Your choice of a college or university should not be based entirely on the quality of education on the subject. It should be also on the quality of Christian freedom. How much your children will be able to go to Bible studies and Sunday worship meeting and Christian fellowship and all that. If the children are away from all Christian activities for 3, 4, 5 years, what do you expect when they come back? That's terrible, We should provide more opportunity for studying God's Word, I think, honestly, we should challenge our children the option of taking maybe 2 years off from their studies, go to a good Bible institute, or take a correspondence course, whatever may be, I am not recommending any college and Bible schools as such, but send them to somewhere where they can get some good solid education. And then let them continue their studies in the secular world, One of the presidents of Harvard University, not now, and I don't remember his name again, these names I forget. He made a famous statement. He said that a BA degree without a Bible education means nothing. But a Bible education without a BA degree means a lot. He said. If only parents will pay attention to that one. Someone famous as the president of Harvard University to say that a BA degree without a Bible education means nothing. But a BA, a Bible education without a university degree means a whole lot. That's true. That's true. We Christians must provide opportunities. The Jewish people and the Muslims, they have opportunity. Muslims have their oath class. From age 2 on, you can see their little children having the prayer cap and go to the, Yeah, they are madrasa, then 9 o'clock they come back and go to school. That's true about the Jewish people. They go to their synagogue for early morning teaching. Only after 10, 12 years of Bible teaching, they go to the secular university. Our children, what we do? At the age of 1, before 1, 2 months, 3 months, we hand them over to the crush to crush them. That's what they do. No, it's terrible. What do they do there? Are they teaching them biblical value? Hindu ladies and Muslim ladies and atheistic ladies and all kinds of ladies taking care of our children, their young age. I'm not against ladies working, I don't think it's a sin to work, but it's a sin to forget, abandon your family, isn't it? It's a sin to abandon your family. Mother is to take care of the child. There are financial strains and situations where both have to work, I understand. But how can you abandon your child to somebody, a non-Christian, and some other people belong to some other worldview? It's terrible, and we should not do that. We should not do that. I think we should be little bit sacrificial when it comes to, we should understand that money is not everything. Money is not everything. You can cut short 3 meals into 2 if that will help your wife not going to work. I'm not against wives going to work, but I'm against sacrificing your family and children. Because that's our greatest possession in the world. We don't want to sacrifice that. So we want to rebuild the foundations, the foundations. Yes. One of the psalmists asked the question, if the foundations are shaken, what the righteous will do? What the righteous will do? We want to make sure that the foundations are correct, just like Jesus said that. He said, the wise man builds his house. What is the house he is building? I believe he is building his family. That parable could be understood like that. The wise man spent more time and energy to lay the foundation for the family, even if the superstructure is a small one. The foolish man is the one who will, won't spend money on the foundation. He will spend money on the superstructure, which is education, which is this and that and all. So then what happens? The day comes when there is flood comes up, storm comes up. Who stands? The structure made on the sand is not going to stand. So you want to make sure that you build your family on firm foundation. How much we say to our believers, they won't understand it. They really don't understand it, So take a couple of years for your children. Either you teach at home consistently from they are born until they leave the 12th grade from your home, and for other, you lay the foundation very correctly and indoctrinate them with the worldview and all that. And I think we need to spread the word with courage and conviction, Means the children need to see their parents standing for the truth. That's what I meant. Children want to see their parents standing for the truth. That will take your children a long way. But what our children do? Parents making compromise and compromise and compromise. Their job is more important. Many other things are more important. When was your child had seen you making a sacrifice for your faith? Or taking, suffering shame for your faith? Or you're proudly confessing the Lord before others? Yes. One of the books that I have read that challenged me a whole lot is by James Kennedy. What if Jesus had never been born? What if Jesus had never been born? That book also recommend that. I had the privilege of reading this book many years, and it really challenged me. It opened my eyes wide, the significance of the birth of Jesus, the life of Jesus. He has penned another book, What If the Bible Had Never Been Written? The same author, James Kennedy. Both books I recommend. I'm sure these books are available on internet and all that, You get it, or it may be available in OM, I don't know. So, we need to, let me get that book. Lastly, this book gives something. After reading that, I thought I cannot improve what he said on this one, He had done so nice a job with this conclusion, this conclusion part. It's a very nice conclusion this author has done, This, the author David Noble. It's an excellent volume. I recommend. I have used this as a basic structure for my lecture. Conclusion I just want to read. After working our way through a systematic analysis of the 10 major components of worldview, our studied conclusions are that, number 1, in theology, the evidence for the existence of a personal God and holy God, a designed universe, and an earth prepared for human life far outweighs any argument for atheism or pantheism. The evidences for the existence of a personal God far outweighs the argument for atheism or pantheism. We have gone through that. Secondly, in philosophy, the notion that mind or logos precedes matter is far superior to the atheistic stance of matter preceding the mind. See, the atheists always say matter is eternal. Mind came later. Logically it is inconsistent. Logically it is inconsistent. Yes. The rationalist has to come first before the reason comes, right? The evolutionists ask the question always, the question, manga ano, mangandi ano? So I ask them, let me ask you a question. You are a rationalist, yes. And did reason come first or rationalists come first? They are in trouble because if they say reason, where did reason exist? So reason cannot exist independently in the sky or anywhere. It can exist only. So a person has to be, a person with understanding and mind has to come. This super world has to have a super mind, which is God. Who else? So it's more rationally, consistent. In biology, the concept of a living God who creates life fits the evidence better than the notion of spontaneous generation and evolution. It's the biggest lie, spontaneous generation, because the theory of probability. Now, how can you fit in by spontaneous, the Big Bang theory, an explosion? If somebody say that in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, what bomb they used, fission bomb or fusion bomb? What was the bomb they used there? Fission bomb, yeah. That's a big bang anyway. So if the fission bomb used there has produced another Japan, how can you? It's only destructive, you cannot. Because creation assumes a creator, a mind. Design needs a designer. So to say that, by accidentally this taken place, and how can you? In psychology, understanding people is as inherently sinful beings in need of a savior far outweighs thinking of them inherently perfect and guilt-free people. Look at the human being, the best person in the world. Is he free of guilt? Is he a perfect human being? Who is the perfect human being in the world? If people will vote for it, who they will vote for? He will definitely be a sinner. There's no question about it. In ethics, the concept that right and wrong are absolutes based on the nature and character of a personal loving just God is far superior both theoretically and practically to any concept of moral relativism. Moral relativism says there is nothing absolute. Whether an action is right or wrong depends on. So many. Depends on. Murder is right or wrong depends on. Adultery is right or wrong depends on. But absolutism, the Creator God, absolutely loving, sovereign God said, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. In sociology, the biblical family of father, mother and child transcends any experiments in trial marriages, homosexuality and the like. Now it's there. Russia experimented with doing away with marriage. Oh, they stopped very soon because the Russian streets were with orphans, unwanted babies. Who will take care of them? And children raised up in the orphanages, they never have, a balanced mental image. They always have problems. Even though the orphanage runner, the mother there, maybe the orphanage parents, they have tried to give them the love and the affection they needed. Their mind is never developed like a child's mind is developed. Now homosexuality comes and, these people wanted permission to adopt children. That's when, because they cannot have children. Adopt children. How can they, raise up children they adopt? Which one will be the father? Which one will be the mother? They will be developing only other batch of homosexuals. Nothing more than that. In law, the notion that God hates the perversion of justice is far superior to any theory of legal relativism or positive law, Yes, God hates, violation of law. God hates injustice, so therefore it has to be punished. Again, how can you have legal relativism, You cannot. Whether an action is right or wrong is to be decided by many things related. You killed a person because your mother needed a heart. Well, you love your mother, right? This is an unwanted orphan child, so you decided you will take that child's heart. Whether the child's heart will fit or not is a different issue, No, it cannot be. It cannot be. Thievery, you are stealing only to provide for your family. Does the thievery make a right action before law? No. The person can always go and ask for some food, right? Is thievery? No. Again, in politics, Christians believe that human rights are a gift from God, protected by government, is more logically persuasive, morally appealing, and politically sound than any atheistic theory that maintains human rights are a largesse of the state, It's an allowance of the state. No, it's not a largesse of the state. God created every man a free being, and therefore every person has the freedom that God has given. It's a gift from God, and therefore, he has certain rights and certain responsibilities. In economics, the concept of stewardship of private property and using resources responsibly to glorify God is more noble than the notion of a society in which ownership destroys individual responsibility and work incentive. How terrible is communism, for example? You have no ownership, you have no incentive for work. Government takes your labor, government provides you whatever it decides. No. In history, the veracity of the Bible and its promise of a future kingdom ushered in by Jesus Christ is far more credible than vague utopian global schemes dreamed up by sinful mortal human beings. Yes. So wherever you look in, only the Christian worldview provides any meaning and purpose. You go to any other system, Hinduism, actually they have a Hindu worldview. What is it? Depend upon your karma, your reincarnations, the chakra theory, So what you do in this life is going to decide what you are going to be in the next life. What a view is that? If you have killed a lot of flies in this world, you're going to be born as a fly in the other world. It's a vain thing, because what happens to the soul and the spirit of man? The fly carries the soul of a man, the spirit of a man, the intellect of a man, the emotion of a man, the conscience of a man. Such absurdity people believe. When they say that the soul of a man is migrated to, transmigration of the soul, migrated to another being. My soul expressing through me in this life, but through that dog? Well, this is nonsense, But people believe all those things, Yes, Yeah. This author gives finally a chart at the last page. It's very nice if you can take a copy of it. If I had time, I remembered God's creative and redemptive order on all these 10 areas. Very, very interesting. Very good. So that, then last there is a section just for the parents, Just for the parents, Well, that's very good advice giving to the parents, how you must start with your children, Yes, this is very good. Those who have children, the question of values, levels of parental concern, spiritual concern, theological concern, and intellectual concern, helping children get an early start and all these things. Very well done, very well done. Now that takes care of basically this topic, and if you have some questions, definitely I'll be happy to discuss them, address them.
What I asked, so is it worth trying to change things?
Worth trying to change things. Have you never heard this statement made by, I don't know who made this statement, change what you can for good, accept what you cannot change. Who said it? Some famous author said it, Change what you could for good, accept what you cannot change.
I think most of the time we end up accepting that.
No, that is not you end up, that's you begin with. I mean that's because it's easy, right? You're trying to change, it's more difficult. So therefore you say that I don't want to change, I'll accept. No, but that's not a solution actually. It's not a solution. Change.
Yeah, what you said. The odds are so...
Yes, it is true. It is true, It's true.
So chance of success.
But the end result is so great. When you change that which is not correct, you are directing, or you are moving to the the right path. Only the right path can take you to the right end. So, it's like some vehicles, it's very difficult to turn the vehicles, it's because in the old time it doesn't have power steering, it's, doesn't have the, the radius of its curving is so big and all that, so it's very difficult. But once you change the direction, you are heading where you want to go. Otherwise you are keeping going in the wrong direction. So it's in everything, If possible, send your children to good schools. If possible. If you have to send your children to a government school where basically the teachers are all atheistic and evolutionistic and all that, then, teach your children at home, homeschooling.
In India, that problem is not there because Indians by general believe in God, and they don't. Only thing is they don't relate their belief with what is taught.
Yeah.
In school.
That may be true. India is a land of many inconsistencies, and this is one of the inconsistencies. But the little minds. If you are a parent who spend a lot of time with your children at home, you can send your children to a secular school, no problem. But most of the parents do not spend a lot of time with their children. This is the problem. If you teach your children the lesson ahead, what the teacher is going to teach, and then you show your child why this textbook or this statement is wrong, the truth is this. But if a teacher says that, that the teacher has to say it because it's in the book and all, but that's not true. If you teach your children all that one, then, there is, but if you don't do all that, then children will be swallowing all that. That's the danger of it. Christian schools, most of them are expensive, I think. Private, good Christian schools, Then again, some schools are Christian for only namesake. Mostly they don't have qualified teachers. That's one of the problems. They don't hire qualified teachers and they don't pay them decently. So, that's so you cannot always send your children to Christian school. Homeschooling is an option. In India, homeschooling is not a big thing now, like in Western countries. Western countries, homeschooling is a very big thing. Many Christian homes. Yes.
Earlier you mentioned about the three major.
Yeah.
The other one is the New Age movement.
Yeah.
So how practically we can talk or address these issues? Because the other issues we can very easily to expose the fallacy, but here, how do we deal with those?
Well, actually the New Age movement is a very, very cunning movement, because it tells that you can believe in Jesus Christ. You're sure you can believe in Jesus Christ, Yeah, you believe in Bible. Oh, sure you can believe in Bible, Or if you want, you can believe in Bhagavad Gita. Or if you don't want to believe in, So the New Age movement is a very liberal movement. One of their success is that because they have no absolutes.
They can accommodate anything.
They can accommodate anything. But actually they are not accommodating anything. They are eliminating everything. They are eliminating everything, and finally they are creating their own, system. That's what they are. This is everything is relative. There is now nothing absolutes. You are making your own religion. So we need to tell our children consistently that truth is absolute. This is a lesson we have to teach. Truth is never relative. Truth is absolute. So if anybody says that you can believe everything, that is a lie. You cannot believe everything. You cannot believe everything. Then you have to tell them examples of so many examples, For anything there is only one answer. 2 plus 2 cannot be 3 or 5. It can only be 4. That's absolute. Why? As long as the value of 1 is 1, 2 plus 2 is 4. So you have to tell that. The same way, you cannot be a Christian and a Hindu. Then you have to tell why. You cannot be believing in Bible and evolution. You have to say. So our children need to be told that there is a new religion on the campuses. It is called the NAM. New Age movement. And this New Age movement is built upon a bunch of relative lies. Relativity is their God and nothing absolute. Then they have to show that what do they mean. Marriage, they will say. For example, take marriage. Marriage? What's marriage? That's what society has made, right? It's two people living together, right? As long as two people are happily living together, why you have to marry? What's the use of marriage? After all, it is two people willingly coming together. So you can just get into your room and hold your hands and say that I accept you as husband and wife, and you start living it. That's fine. Why you want to go through all this paraphernalia of marriage and expenses and all? So they will have things like this, one upon another, one upon another. We need to know that marriage is not a personal relationship only. Marriage is a social relationship. Marriage is a personal relationship. Marriage, is a spiritual relationship. It has many dimensions to it. What's the difference between adultery and marriage? We have to tell our children, So if we expose our children early enough about these dangers of the NAM, I think they will understand. It's so easy because it's people, we are living in a pluralistic society. In a pluralistic society, dogmatism is hated. Jesus is the only God. Oh, Jesus is the only God, Oh, they say, what is about Rama and Krishna? What is wrong with, what is wrong with Allah? Your God is the only God. Oh, you are narrow-minded, that's the way they approach. They say narrow-minded, 2 plus 2 is 4. You are very narrow-minded. Why don't you say 2 plus 2 is 5? But there you are not narrow-minded, right? If I ask you the time, you want the right time, right? There you are not narrow-minded. You go to the ration shop, you want 1 kilo, you want 1 kilo. There are 1,000 grams, right? You want to say it could be 700 or 1,500, depends upon the situation. Why you wanted to be so liberal when it comes to God or ethics only? This is a question. See? That we have to say that the world operates on absolutism everywhere. World cannot really operate on relativism. Yes. Einstein said it, the law of relativity, The only thing that is not relative is what? The velocity of light or something, right? Everything else is relative, he said. Well, a very good idea. So we need to attack children, we need to attack a name and teach our children, If anybody say that is good, this is good, no, you should not say. Only if this is good, the other is the opposite of it, then that has to be bad. You cannot. Yes, light is light and darkness is darkness. Truth is truth and lie is lie. This concept we have to teach our children from childhood. We don't teach them, that's the reason, Parents have a tendency, I don't know, I guess it's okay, Anything children are, well, I guess, you can say that that's right. It's a matter of opinion, When everything is a matter of opinion, children wants to hear some dogmatic answer. That's not right, son. This is right. It's not right. The reason all the cults grow very fast is because they are dogmatic. You know, they are dogmatic. Only through our church you can go heaven. No other church. People like to go there. People like to go there because, they have an answer. This is the only right thing. You say, well, you could really, if you want, you can go there or you can come to us. Both are right. Then they say that, he does not know what is right, what is wrong. So, some dogmatism is not bad. I said dogmatic about truth, and dogmatic about lie. No, that's a lie. Say it like that. Let us reduce the gray areas. Let's have more black and white areas. I have a feeling that evangelicals are having more gray areas and less black and white areas. We should have more black and white areas. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
You talk about Jews and the Muslims who first train their child and then they go to school. In a house church situation, how can we do that?
What can we do in the house church situation?
I think the parents will have.
Yeah.
And
there is also the teaching of the children is to be done by the parent, not by the church. The church only supplements. I am for Sunday school and all, but that's only supplement. Parents are given in Deuteronomy chapter 6, Hear, O Israel, then said, you shall teach these things to your children when you sit, when you lay down, when you get up, when you sit and when you walk. Basically that is morning, evening, mealtime, when you are going out. All time you should be talking about spiritual values. It's a job of the parents.
And the other thing is, we who are Christians from the West, from India. The other question is, we who are Christians from India and say the Western countries and all, I'm sure we have missed a point when it comes to, we believe in a
Judeo-Christian, yes. Yeah.
There is an Old Testament, there is a New Testament. So I'm sure we are missing out on some things which is essential for us to practice because of our culture and the way we are brought up. Probably lifestyle or...
We are missing a whole lot. Not some, whole lot.
So what are they? Like one friend who went to Israel said that Passover is a very important thing, which believers should do. So those kind of...
Yeah, well, there is a Christian lifestyle. There is a Christian lifestyle. What is that Christian? There is a Jewish lifestyle. I think the Christian and the Jewish lifestyle go very much together. When a child is born, of course, plenty of time is given for the mother to spend with the child, right? Even the Old Testament says when a girl is given birth, 80 days, impure. I don't know why 80 days impure, because women who delivers girls were not loved as much as women who delivers boys. So husbands and in-laws will not give as much rest to that woman. So God said
80 days.
80 days. 80 days. For 80 days, no, you don't have to do anything. You are impure, right? Unclean. So you just say, feed your baby, bathe your baby, that's it. After 80 days. Boys, when a boy delivered, of course, everybody loves the woman, because in those days they had the idea that the sex of the gender of the child is decided by the mother than the father, So she is loved, she gets plenty of rest. So she has to give. Then they take the child to, if the boy, they circumcise the child on the 8th day, they will be circumcise the child, and then there is a dedication, presenting the child before the Lord. That usually happens when the mother is ceremonially clean. So that's called the dedication. A Christian should have, that's what Christians should have. It's a big day. Invite all the friends and relations and everybody, and the dedication of our child. There the father and the mother brings the child forward, and that's when the child is named. What you call this child, then they will say we call this child usually after the name of the father or grandfather, what maybe traditionally. Nowadays people are not following those things, but whatever is. That's the naming the child, and then praying for the child and dedicating the child to the Lord, asking God's grace upon the child, the childhood, infancy and all those things. And then everybody, all those who come, they will exchange a gift for the child, and then there will be meal and a good time. Now the denominations have this for they are Mamodisa, right? What do we have? What do we have? We must have a dedication. That's biblical. Jesus was taken to the temple for dedication. That's when Hannah and Simeon, they have taken the child. We must have. Why don't we have? Why don't we have?
Because for us who are believers and the non-believing Christian community, we want to be separate.
No, what is not separation here? This is a wonderful. We had dedication for all our children, and invited everybody, relations and all that came, and they all came, and there's a good message also, the importance of children and all that, and then meal was given to everybody. That's our it's with that dedication, it's a very important event in the family. It's a dedication of the child. When here we had a Sunday, we had the child, the second child, of course, we had dedication service. All the family members were invited, in an auditorium, and there were, a couple of hundred people came, and everybody was given food and all, and we did the dedication service, And then a lot of people, I heard that, this is more Christian than Mamodisa. I have heard people saying that. More Christian than Mamodisa. Yeah. So we should have, I said, so our Christian life has a pattern. The worldly people have well, I think when we must do the same thing with the prayer and dedication and all, there they will say Hari Sri Ganapadaye Nama. Is that what we do with our children? Isho Masihayake Studi Agate Let Triega Devatana Studi and the Kutia Kunda. Yeah. Most everybody in our churches, they bring the child to me. Say, brother, I said, yeah, I hold their hands, and in Hebrew, Greek, English and Malayalam and Hindi.
This I didn't understand.
When your child is put to school, or first wanted to teach them, well, you have a pray for the child. Let the godly man do it. What is wrong with it? Nothing wrong. But my point is that, just like the Jew has, we Christians also bring up our child like that. Yes.
So where do we draw a line when it comes to culture and what has to be practiced?
Well, we have to practice what is biblical things, Cultural things we can, as long as they are not against the Bible. Any cultural thing not against the Bible we can do. For example, at the time of marriage in Kerala, it's a culture, the bridegroom will give to the bride's mother, old times say kacha udukata, they used to say, now they give sari or something, Well, there's nothing wrong in that one, because this is biblical also, because Abraham's servant gave gifts to Laban and the members of the family, right? When Rebecca was, so that's, it has both our culture also and the other also. There's nothing wrong. But there are pagan cultures we don't do, like minne, for example, we don't take minne. Yes? Minne, but there are some places there is only a chain, not minne. Minne is that thing at the bottom, Tali. Yeah.
Yeah, about children being brought up in the spiritual thing.
Yeah, every day, every single day from the time of birth, we will bring the children to family altar. പ്രസവം കഴിഞ്ഞ ആദ്യത്തെ ദിവസം തന്നെ കുഞ്ഞിനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി അവിടെ കിടത്തും ഫാമിലി വർഷിപ്പ്. അത് ഫാമിലി വർഷിപ്പ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലേ ഒക്കൂ. when you... So that child learns, when the child makes noise, you close the mouth. So that the child from very young age, child comes to know that something important is going on. Something important, because other times you don't. But whenever singing or reading the Bible, so that child grows with that respect for you don't need to say anything, because child immediately knows that Bible reading is going on, so you're supposed to make noise. And our children walk around, run around, step on the Bible, this everything, make noise and everything, because what is happening here, they don't know. So in every stage you have to step like that, you have to. All, even breastfeeding, അമ്മമാര് ബ്രസ്റ്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചിട്ട് ബ്രസ്റ്റ് കൊടുക്കണം. You just close and say a word. Then that child will always eat or drink something only after prayer. That becomes a standard for the child. At least സ്തോത്രം എന്തെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞെങ്കിലേ കൊടുക്കത്തുള്ളൂ. When we bathe our children and sleep them, we watch. ചർച്ചിൽ ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഉണ്ടാകാതിരിക്കത്തൊക്കെ വേണം. പിള്ളേർ രാവിലെ ഒരു 8 മണി 8:30 ആകുമ്പം കുളിപ്പിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർ 2 മണിക്കൂർ 2.5 മണിക്കൂർ ഉറങ്ങും, 9 മണിയാകുമ്പം. അപ്പോൾ സഭായോഗത്തിന് വന്നാൽ മിക്കവാറും ഒരു 12 മണി വരെ അവരെന്ത് ചെയ്യും? അവർ കിടന്നുറങ്ങും. ദർ ഇസ് നോ ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഫോർ ദ മദർ ഓൾസോ. So the timing of bathing the child and feeding the child is decided in advantage of the church meeting. അവർ 2-2.5 വയസ്സാകുമ്പോൾ പിന്നെ അങ്ങനെ അതിൻ്റെ ആവശ്യമില്ല. അപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവർക്ക് they are mature enough to know the difference. So everything you do. So many mothers will bathe their children in the afternoon, because that's the time when the mother also has to take a sleep. So what happens, the child will be creating all kinds of problems in the morning, because at home also child is crying and all that, and then mother is always carrying the child and all that. So here also the child wants the mother to carry. So every single thing you do for the advantage of the Lord and Lord's things. അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും കെയർഫുൾ ആയിട്ടൊന്നും അല്ല ആരും മക്കളെ വളർത്തുന്നത്. ദിസ് ഇസ് ദ പ്രോബ്ലം. So this all supposed to be, the church needs to give training to people for all these things, I believe. ചർച്ച് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഞായറാഴ്ച വന്ന് അപ്പം നുറുക്കാൻ മാത്രം വരുന്നതല്ലല്ലോ ചർച്ച്. ചർച്ചസ് എവറിഥിങ് ഹെൽപ്പ് പീപ്പിൾ.
More specifically on philosophies. So how can you impart that?
ഇപ്പോൾ philosophy, for example, take money. You need to teach them the essentials of banking, earning, spending, reward, and all those things. You can teach them from childhood on accountability. Somebody give the child a gift, that the money is the child's, never your money. But the child is not mature enough to handle the money. So you open an account for the child at the early dates. Then you put the money in the bank and give the passbook to the child. Teach them how the money is increasing and all that, And you can teach those things, and then teach the child. Whenever you get the money, the Lord's portion you will take out. So somebody gave you 10 rupees. So 1 rupee or 2 rupee you have to take. So only 8 rupee will be put in your account. So all these things you are teaching from childhood on. Stewardship responsibility.
How do you teach a child to
Well, in our system it's very difficult, but in the Western system, for every service the child renders, there is wage. If you pick up the newspaper every day, the old paper, and there is a box where you put it. It's your job. You put it all through the month, you will get 5 rupees per month. That rupee I'll put in the bank for you. And for every day you don't do it, I'll cut 50 paise per day.
Can you give a closing remarks?
Yeah. The closing remark, we need to cultivate the Christian worldview, thinking in our families, in our church. And this does not happen naturally. No, it does not happen automatically. Especially because we have not been practicing this. We have been Christians only in our faith. Basically living Hindus in our lifestyle. Not very much different. Our faith is, as we believe in Jesus Christ, we believe in the Bible, we go to church on Sunday, but for other things we live like everybody else. That's not enough. We must let our worldview guide and control us. The best time to practice this thing, especially for the family, is to start it with our children, because our life has come up, but we want to make sure that our children are taught. But our children can be taught only if we practice it. So we have to make a rededication of our lives so that we will do these things. I think it's very fundamental. For me, Christian worldview is very fundamental. For most of the problems we experience in personal, family, church life, in office, work and all these things, because we don't have the right Christian worldview. If you have the right view about work, money, ethics and all these things, we will have very little problem. So I say that, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Let's be Christian not only in our faith, but in our life. Let's be 365 days, Christians. That's possible only if our Christian worldview is practiced.